Do you ever feel like you're alive, but not truly awake? Like this world, though flooded with information, noise, and promises, still leaves a strange emptiness inside you? It's not that you're missing something. It's that you're remembering something ancient, something familiar, but impossible to name. The thing you see in dreams, the sound that brings tears to your eyes, though you don't know why, the way light pierces through the ocean, and suddenly your soul aches. This is not imagination. This is your spiritual memory awakening, and the story of Atlantis, it's not just a myth. It's a mirror, reflecting you. Awakening doesn't begin with learning. It begins with remembering. We grow up learning a version of history that has been rewritten many times. A map that conveniently skips the most important places, those where our soul's memory lies buried deepest. In every ancient civilization, Egypt, Greece, the Maya, Sumer, even in the traditions of indigenous tribes from Australia to the Americas, there is always a faint echo from a forgotten place, Atlantis. But here's the strange part. We don't just hear about Atlantis. We feel it, a vibration, a frequency, an energy that makes the heart ache when we hear that name. Atlantis. Not just an island, not just a city, but a state of consciousness, a soul vibration. It wasn't just a place of advanced technology, not just giant pyramids, energy crystals, or invisible force fields. It was a civilization where spiritual awakening and quantum science were never separate. Atlantis lives in your cellular memory, in dreams where you flew through the skies, touched pure light without burning, and spoke to others without words, only frequency. And you've asked yourself, why does it feel like coming home? Because your soul was there. Now is the time to look at your path, not through the eyes of the ordinary, but through the third eye, the one that sees through the fog of programming, through the layered illusions of this modern world. Because the truth is, you don't need to believe Atlantis existed out there. You only need to feel it alive within you. Remember the first time you felt you didn't belong here? The first time you touched an old book, saw a sacred symbol, and your heart raced, though you didn't know why. The first time you heard about energy, about frequency, vibration, and you just knew it was real. Though no one ever taught you, you are not alone. There are millions around the world feeling the same. They can't explain it, but they know. They are awakening from a slumber that lasted thousands of years. You did not come to Earth to repeat the past. You came to remember. Remember that Atlantis did not sink. It changed frequency. And once you resonate with that frequency again, you won't have to search anymore. You will become it, because Atlantis is not a place you go to. It is a place you return to, within. We often think of Atlantis as a fairy tale, a city sunken beneath the ocean, swallowed by the wrath of the gods or some mythical disaster. But perhaps we were mistaken. Atlantis didn't disappear. It was the memory of Atlantis that was hidden, blurred, and buried within us. Fragments of that memory, glimmering like shattered crystals scattered across the desert of time, still exist. Not beneath the sea, but deep within the frequency of the human soul. Why do so many people around the world feel a strange familiarity when they hear the word Atlantis? Why do images of colossal domes, spiraling towers, and crystal-lit avenues awaken an emotion so profound, yet so hard to explain? Because it's not imagination, it's remembrance. And this memory doesn't come from the brain, but from the soul's frequency archive. We are not just physical bodies. We are the intersection of countless dimensions, where experience and wisdom are encoded into light, into vibration, into what science calls junk DNA, but which is, in truth, a gateway to the civilizations we once belonged to. Have you ever felt that strange blend of unfamiliar and familiar when you see an ancient symbol? Have you ever heard an instrument, a sound, a language you've never studied, but it brings you to tears? That is resonance, the resonance between your current vibration and a layer of soul memory yet to be unlocked. And here's what's fascinating. The more people start to remember, the more activation codes get triggered. Ancient energetic sites, like those in Egypt, Greece, Peru, and even Vietnam, are not randomly placed. They rest on the Earth's ley lines, a global energy grid. These lines connect ancient temples, pyramids, and sacred places, like transmission towers waiting to be reactivated by the consciousness of humanity. Not all of us came from Atlantis, but many souls were there, under different names, different forms, in different dimensions of awareness. Some were scholars, some were healers, some were protectors of the city's energy grid. And yes, some were the ones tempted by power and shadow, whose actions led to the downfall of that civilization. And the irony? The story is repeating. We are living through a similar moment in time, an era much like pre-collapse Atlantis, a world where technology evolves faster than consciousness, a time when people trade their frequency for convenience, a culture where disconnection from nature, from spirit, from soul has become the norm. Atlantis is not just a lost city. Atlantis is a symbol of choice, a sacred reminder that without alignment between mind and soul, between science and wisdom, between power and love, any civilization, no matter how advanced, will eventually fall. And this time, the choice is in your hands. If Atlantis is a mirror reflecting the past, then the present is our chance to correct the reflection before it shatters once again. But how do we truly remember? Not with the mind, but through stillness, by reconnecting with the primordial energy field that every soul once carried from forgotten epochs. This doesn't come from reading more books or chasing advanced metaphysical theories. It comes from observing yourself, listening to the vibrations in your palms, in your breath, in the strange recurring dreams you can't explain. Many of us are experiencing this remembering through unusual bodily symptoms, tingling in the forehead or crown, temporary disorientation, emotional swings for no clear reason, the sensation of living between two worlds. This is not an illness, it is a frequency recalibration. Once the physical body starts to align with the soul's information field, the Atlantean levels of awareness begin to return. And it's not just memory, it's skill. You start to sense energy in others. You feel drawn to sound healing, deep meditation, clairvoyance, crystal healing, or ancient symbol coding. You feel moved by images of pyramids, rings of light, or crystalline forms science can't yet explain. That is your inheritance awakening. In Atlantis, we once lived in a society built on frequency coherence, not political power, not monetary systems, but resonant harmony between souls. Everyone knew their role within the collective, not because they were taught, but because they remembered. No one worked to survive. To live was the soul's sacred work. An artist didn't create for fame, but because the frequency of love inside him needed to be expressed. A healer didn't practice for income, but because the light in her hands was a promise made thousands of years ago. Have you ever felt like you have a mission no one assigned you, yet you keep searching for it? That's not a fantasy. That's the echo of Atlantis. And today, your soul is whispering, it's time. The journey back to Atlantis is not about rebuilding the city. It's about restoring a higher state of being, where all creation flows from the union between the heart and universal frequency. And that is no longer fiction. It's a process already underway. From the awakening of star seeds, old souls carrying cosmic memory, to the rise of indigo, crystal, and rainbow children born with different DNA and higher frequencies. From the rediscovery of healing frequencies like 432 Hz and 528 Hz, to the return of sacred geometries like the flower of life, Metatron's cube, and the symbols of Thoth. It is all happening in parallel. And if you feel drawn to it, if you resonate, if you've moved for reasons you can't explain, that is a signal. It is how the memory of Atlantis activates the field within you. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain it. You only need to recognize it and allow yourself to remember. Because Atlantis never truly disappeared. It has only been waiting for you to reopen the gate within. Everything you've ever touched, felt, loved, or feared begins from one common source: consciousness. Not as an abstract idea, but as the fundamental nature of reality itself. When you look at a stone, you see matter. But deeper than that, it's vibration, frequency, a slowed-down expression of energy. And that energy is you. It is me. It is the entire universe. In Hermetic thought, all phenomena are simply varying expressions of a single, universal intelligence, an all-encompassing mind. You are not living in a fragmented world. You are living within the mind of the divine. And that means you are not a victim. You are a co-creator. If the world appears chaotic to you, perhaps your mind is in chaos. If you feel abandoned, perhaps you believe yourself to be separate. And if you see love everywhere, it's not because the world changed, but because you did. Your consciousness is not a passive observer. It is a broadcasting tower, a projector, a creative center. The question is not, what is the world like? But, what are you thinking about it? This is not a burden. This is your power. Because if everything is consciousness, then every great transformation begins within you. And this is where true awakening starts, when you stop searching for answers out there and begin to return inward. When you no longer say, "The world is hurting me," but instead ask, "What part of me is unhealed and being reflected?" In that moment, you become a true alchemist, turning every experience into fuel for inner transmutation. You are no longer a being tossed in the current. You become the current, and you begin to perceive a deeper intelligence moving through everything, a cosmic orchestration no system could ever control, a living awareness that remembers itself through you, because you are not separate from the universe. You are the continuation of an ancient consciousness, journeying through human form. You are the memory of Atlantis, of Lemuria, of the stars and the light, reawakening. And the most beautiful truth is this: you never truly forgot. You're only now starting to remember. When you look in a mirror, you see your face. But when you look at the world, what do you see? Hermeticism calls this the principle of reflection. As above, so below. As within, so without. What is above mirrors what is below. What is within reflects outward, exactly. The world is not a random screen. It is a mirror of you. Every time you're angry at someone, it might be a part of yourself you haven't acknowledged. Every time you feel rejected, you may be rejecting your own emotions. Every time you see light in another, it's a reminder that light also lives in you. All is reflection. Nothing out there is accidental. No one enters your life without carrying a message from the universe. If you're drawn to Atlantis, to ancient frequencies, to dreams of light and water, it may be that something within you is stirring. Perhaps your soul is beginning to remember why you came here. Reflection doesn't only happen in relationships, it is present in every experience, in emotions, in circumstances, and your physical body. An illness may be your soul's signal that something is being neglected. A broken relationship might point to how long you've abandoned yourself. The universe does not punish. The universe responds. It doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you believe to be true. And this is why you can't deceive frequency. You can smile through pain, but your vibration still radiates sorrow. You can say, "I'm fine," but if your heart is in turmoil, the world will mirror that unrest. Awakening isn't about changing the world. It's about seeing the world through a more honest and loving lens toward yourself. When you accept an emotion, it stops controlling you. When you love the wound, it begins to dissolve. When you sit with yourself in silence, you begin to hear the true voices. Not from fear, but from your soul. And from that point, your reality begins to shift. Not because you're manipulating it, but because you're in harmony with it. Everything you see is you. Everything you love is you. Everything that irritates you is also you. And you get to choose. Will you keep living as a victim of circumstance, or become the one who decodes the deeper message in every reflection? That is your power, and also your most sacred responsibility, to become the one who understands themselves deeply, and through that, understands the universe. Because you are the universe gazing into itself through the form of a human being. Nothing in the universe is still. Everything, from the tiniest particle to entire galaxies, is vibrating. This is not a metaphor. It is a physical, spiritual, and soul-level truth. This is one of the most essential hermetic principles. Everything vibrates. Nothing rests. And if everything is vibration, then the world you live in is not a static place. It is a symphony. You don't live in the world. You are resonating with it. Your frequency is not the result. It is the cause. We often think, once I have money, I'll feel secure. But in reality, when you begin to vibrate at the frequency of abundance, you attract the circumstances for wealth to flow. We believe, when I meet the right person, I'll feel whole. But the truth is, when you emit the vibration of wholeness, those aligned with it will appear. Frequency is the language of the universe. No need for words, no need for elaborate prayers. Just vibrate correctly. And the world will harmonize with you. And maybe you've already felt this, a place that calms you the moment you walk in, because it vibrates in harmony with your field. A person who makes you uneasy without saying a word, because their energy is out of phase with yours. A piece of music that brings you to tears, even without lyrics, because its frequency touches a soul memory long buried. It's all frequency. And as you begin to awaken, you'll realize you can no longer tolerate places, people, or ideas that operates on a frequency too low for your evolving self. You find yourself lost in shallow conversations. You feel drawn to nature. You crave silence, depth, the sacred. Not because you're weird or disconnected, but because your frequency is changing. And then, one day, you feel powerfully guided by intuition. You randomly stumble across a video like this. You meet someone who reminds you of something, as if you once knew it, once lived it, once vibrated as that truth. Yes, you are remembering a different dimension, a form of existence you once embodied, a place like Atlantis, where knowledge and vibration were one, where you didn't have to learn how to raise your frequency, because you were the high frequency itself, and now you are slowly returning. Each meditation, each deep emotion, each sacred silence is a step back into your true vibration. And as you rise, you don't just change your own life, you help raise the collective frequency of the planet. Remember, the law of attraction begins with the law of vibration. Nothing comes if you don't emit. Nothing touches you unless you're open to it. You don't need to achieve greatness to be worthy of the universe. You simply need to return to your true vibration. And when you do, the entire universe will recognize you. If you've ever felt torn between two worlds, between light and shadow, between love and fear, then you've touched one of the universe's deepest secrets. Everything has its opposite, and both are one. Hermeticism calls this the law of polarity. Hot and cold, love and hate, light and darkness, success and failure. These are not two completely separate realities. They are two ends of the same current of energy. Just as light slowly becomes a shadow at sunset, opposites are not in conflict. They are always transforming into one another. You can't know warmth if you've never felt cold. You can't understand peace without first facing chaos. You can't grasp the truth without once being lost. So instead of trying to push away pain, or fight your negativity, or cover your darkness with a high vibration mask, try something else. Sit with it. No judgment, no escape, no spiritual bypassing. Because in those lowest moments, true awakening begins. If you're watching this, you've likely felt like you don't belong here. You've felt the world doesn't understand your sensitivity. You've felt too different, too fragile, or too awake for the rest of the world. But you're not broken. You're simply standing on the opposite pole, so you can know yourself more deeply. That's why Atlantis resonates with you. Because Atlantis wasn't just a civilization. It was a state of harmony between polarities. There, science and spirit were one. Individual ego and collective service were aligned. Masculine and feminine did not clash. They merged into co-creative power. And you, yes you, are being called to revive that harmony now. Not by eliminating the darkness, but by loving both your light and your shadow. Because the more you try to destroy one pole, the more you empower the other. Only by embracing both do you return to the center point, the space of stillness, of integration, where your soul can rise without resistance. So if today you feel conflicted, torn, or overwhelmed, smile. You're living exactly as the universe designed it. There is no wrong here. Only experience, only layers of learning. And from your fragments, you are slowly piecing together your wholeness. This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's the key to freeing yourself from the loop of suffering. Not by choosing the right side, but by becoming the bridge between all sides. That is your power. That is your invitation. And that is the very essence of the law of polarity. There is a universal law you've lived with your entire life, but may have never truly noticed. It hides in every heartbeat, every breath, every shifting phase of the moon. This is the law of rhythm, and once you understand it, you'll never feel lost again amidst the waves of life. Everything in the universe oscillates. Nothing is completely still. Nothing stays forever at the peak, nor in the valley. Rhythm is the pendulum between two poles, the mechanism through which polarity transforms itself. And you are a part of that cosmic dance. when you fall into dark days, when you feel lost, exhausted, unmotivated, don't immediately think you've lowered your frequency or fallen off your spiritual path. You're simply in the downward arc of a rhythm. Stillness, dissolution, disorientation. These are not signs of failure. They are the pullback before the surge. Like a pendulum, the further it swings in one direction, the greater its return. Hermeticism teaches the one who masters rhythm transcends suffering, not because they avoid pain, but because they know it will pass. They don't fight the wave, they ride with it. And as many of the viewers here have shared, they often feel like they're waking up, then losing connection, then awakening again, like a cycle of remember, forget, remember, forget. But in truth, that is the path. That is how the soul is sharpened. Through cycles, you are not regressing, you are being forged. And Atlantis didn't fall just once. It oscillates as a frequency, a collective memory, rising and falling within the soul of humanity. Each time you feel like you're remembering Atlantis, it's not a memory of the past. It's a rhythmic surge returning. You are that wave. You are the one carrying that ancient frequency into now. And if you're still navigating daily life, through jobs, family, fear, heartbreak, know this: these cycles are not against you. They're teaching you the dance of the cosmos, and you no longer need to walk a straight path. Sway, flow, spiral. Allow yourself to pause, then rise. Trust that the rhythm is carrying you back to shore. You don't need to fight the current. You only need to listen, because the one who understands rhythm no longer fears change. Nothing appears by accident. No moment is ever empty. Every thought, every choice, every step you take leaves behind a ripple in the energetic field. This is the sixth principle, and one of the most ancient truths of all, the law of cause and effect. It's not like the karmic punishment many religions once instilled, not some cosmic judgment from an outside force. It is a subtle, sacred connection between everything you think, feel, speak, and do, and the reality you're currently experiencing. Hermeticism states, every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. There is no such thing as chance, only chains of creation we may not yet see. Just like the seeds Atlantis planted tens of thousands of years ago. Seeds that seemed lost, sunken, forgotten, are now blossoming again. In you, in me, in those awakenings all around the world. You feel different. You feel out of place in this system. You've always questioned what you were taught to accept. That's not a coincidence. It's the effect of a soul-level cause you planted long ago. Perhaps you once walked among the crystal temples of Atlantis. Perhaps you worked with frequency to heal. Perhaps you once misused energy, and in this life, you've returned to make it right. Whatever it is, the law of cause and effect doesn't condemn you. It simply invites you to become a conscious cause. You can choose to be a victim, reacting to everything life throws at you, or you can become a creator. The one who plants a new cause on purpose. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, when did I unconsciously create this? And what new seed can I plant to create a new future? This is the threshold where energetic awakening meets empowered thinking. It's not toxic positivity, it's true empowerment. You begin to see clearly. Every emotion you hold on to is a cause. Every belief you repeat is a seed. Every action you take is a summoning of reality. You don't have to control everything, but you do need to become present and aware. And when millions of souls awaken together, questioning their origins, remembering Atlantis, recalling their souls' deeper memories. We are collectively creating a new cause, a wave of remembrance, a wave of shaping the future through a deep understanding of the past. We are not here to live in trauma loops. We are here to end the old cycles. Through new choices, you are not being punished. You are being reminded. Everything you do ripples outward. And now, you are becoming the cause of a new Atlantis. Not a location, but a frequency. A frequency you once lived. And now is calling you home. Everything you witness in this universe, from the breeze on your skin to life forming in the womb, is born from the union of two forces, masculine energy and feminine energy. Not biological gender, but two currents representing action and stillness, the seed and the soil, emergence and nourishment. No seed can sprout without earth. No idea can manifest without a space for it to live. In Egyptian mythology, Thoth was the scribe of the universe. But he could only do this in harmony with Maat, goddess of order, truth, and justice. Thoth represents reason. Maat embodies intuition. They are not opposites. They complete one another, like the sun and the moon, like inhaling and exhaling. These two energies also live within you. You may have been born into a male or female body, but your mind and soul carry both currents. And only when you allow them to meet, to merge and dissolve into one another, do you truly create. This is the deepest principle of manifestation. Look back at your own life. Have there been times when relying only on logic made everything feel rigid? Or moments when living purely through emotion led to chaos? Gender, in Hermeticism, is not about defining male or female. It's a reminder. True creation arises from balance. We've lived in a world split in two. On one side, logic, analysis, and control. On the other, emotion is often dismissed or deemed weak. But deep in the memory of the cosmos, we know that both are sacred. Both exist to guide us back to wholeness. And this is not just philosophy, it's the key to shaping reality. When you meditate, you are using feminine energy to receive. When you take action, you are channeling masculine energy to express. When you set an intention, masculine, and nurture it with belief, feminine, you activate manifestation, creation from within to without. This is what sages across time have called the sacred union within each of us. Gender, when understood correctly, is the gateway for human beings to become creators. You stop looking outward to be filled. You stop waiting for someone else to complete you. When you balance these forces within, you become whole. You are unified. You are the one. And this is why, in every ancient culture, rituals honoring the union of masculine and feminine were seen as sacred. These were the moments when humans came into harmony with the universe, and from that place, new realities were born. Each time you create something beautiful, a thought, a poem, a healing embrace, you are acting like a little god, continuing the current of ancient Atlantis. This is how awakened souls step into true creation, no longer in the name of desire, but in the name of sacred union. There is still so much waiting for you to discover. Atlantis is not just a civilization. It is a frequency rising from within you. If vague memories have begun to stir, know that it is not by accident. Let your intuition lead the way. Continue this journey with us. Let each video be a deeper step into your awakening. Follow inner alchemy to stay connected with every frequency unfolding. You are not walking alone. We are returning together.